You kiss her goodbye in the morning. She smells fresh, she looks beautiful, and she is dressed to impress. You tell yourself she's doing this for her career. You tell yourself she's going to the office to help build a future for your family. But there is a dark reality you are ignoring. The office is not just a place for work. It is the single biggest dating market on the planet. While you are grinding away to pay the mortgage, she is spending 8 to 10 hours a day sitting next to a man who is seeing her at her best, while you only get her when she is tired, stressed, and removing her makeup. The brutal truth is that she isn't cheating with a stranger at a bar. She is cheating with the guy she grabs lunch with every Tuesday. Brothers, my ex said I could never grow this channel to 2,000 men in a single month. I need you to help prove her wrong. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a comment right now. You might think you are safe because she wears a ring. You might think you are safe because you've been together for 10 years. But proximity is the most powerful drug in the world. When a woman spends more waking hours with another man than she does with you, biology starts to take over. Today, we are going to rip the cover off the work husband myth. We are going to look at why the workplace is the perfect breeding ground for betrayal, and why women feel a deeper connection to the man they solve problems with than the man they sleep next to. This is the uncomfortable truth about why the office is the graveyard of modern relationships. The most dangerous thing about the workplace is that it creates a false reality. At home, there are bills, there are dirty dishes, there are arguments about money and kids. It is real life, and real life is not always sexy. But at work, everyone is pretending to be their best self. She sees her coworker, let's call him Steve, when he's shaven, wearing a suit, and acting competent. She doesn't see Steve when he is farting on the couch or forgetting to take out the trash. She sees a curated version of a man. And Steve? He sees her when she is put together, sharp and focused. They exist in a bubble where domestic stress does not exist. This brings us to the first story. Let's talk about Mark. Mark was the trusting husband. He was secure. He wasn't the jealous type. His wife, Sarah, got a promotion and started working closely with a senior manager. She would come home and complain about how hard the project was, but then she would say, "Thank God for Brian. He's the only one who gets it." Mark made the fatal mistake of encouraging this bond. He said, "I'm glad you have help." He thought Brian was just a colleague. But Brian and Brian were in the trenches together. They were solving problems. They were sharing the adrenaline of deadlines. This creates a chemical bond in the brain that mimics love. It creates a team dynamic. Sarah started having lunch with Brian to talk strategy. Then lunch turned into happy hour to blow off steam. Mark was at home keeping dinner warm, while Sarah was out laughing at Brian's jokes. Mark was the safety net. Brian was the excitement. When Mark finally found the texts, it wasn't just physical, it was emotional. She told Brian things she never told Mark. Mark lost because he didn't understand that emotional intimacy leads to physical intimacy every single time. He let another man fill his role as her confidant. If you are realizing that you've been too passive about your woman's work friends, you need to wake up right now. Don't let this slide. Hit that subscribe button so you can learn how to protect your relationship and your dignity. The psychology here is simple but deadly. It is called the exposure effect. The more you see someone, the more you like them. But there is a second layer called validation. At work, a woman gets validated for her mind and her skills. If you are at home treating her just like the wife or the mom, and the guy at work is treating her like a brilliant marketing executive, guess who she is going to be attracted to? She's going to gravitate toward the man who makes her feel powerful. Let's look at the second story. This is Gary. Gary was a hard worker, a blue-collar guy who provided everything. His wife worked in a corporate office. She started feeling like she had outgrown Gary. She felt sophisticated. Gary came home with dirt on his hands. Her coworker Jason had soft hands and talked about wine and travel. She didn't cheat because Jason was a better man. She cheated because Jason represented the life she thought she deserved. She used Jason to monkey branch up the social ladder. She would complain to Jason about Gary. She would say, "He just doesn't understand my ambition." And Jason, playing the predator, would say, "You deserve someone who sees your potential." He fed her ego. He validated her complaints. He gave her the cheat code to betray Gary guilt-free. She convinced herself that Gary was holding her back and Jason was her savior. Gary was blindsided when she left because he thought paying the bills was enough. He didn't realize that hypergamy doesn't care about loyalty. It cares about perceived status. The workplace allows a woman to test drive a new man before she leaves you. She can see how he handles stress, how he treats her, and how much money he makes, all without leaving the safety of her marriage to you. It is the perfect setup for a woman who wants to switch branches without hitting the ground. But it doesn't have to end this way. Let's look at the winner. Let's look at Mike. Mike is a man with frame. He knows his value. His girlfriend started a new job and immediately started talking about a guy named Dave. "Dave is so funny," she said. "Dave brought me coffee today." Mike didn't get angry. He didn't act insecure. He just set a cold, hard boundary. He looked at her and said, "Listen, I don't care who Dave is, but you're talking about him a lot. In my relationship, you don't accept gifts and attention from other men. If you want to date Dave, you go date Dave, but you won't do it while you're with me." She tried to call him controlling. She said he's just a friend. Mike didn't budge. He said, "I know how men work. He doesn't want to be your friend. He wants to sleep with you. And by accepting his coffee, you are signaling that the door is open. Close the door, or I will close the door on us." He was willing to walk away. He pulled back his attention. He focused on his mission. He showed her that he was not afraid to lose her. And what happened? Her attraction for Dave vanished. Why? Because Mike showed strength. He showed that he was the king and he wouldn't tolerate disrespect. She cut Dave off because she realized losing Mike wasn't worth the free coffee. Mike won because he checked the behavior the moment it started. The hidden truth is that most affairs start as venting. She has a fight with you and she goes to work and tells her coworker. The coworker listens. He acts supportive. He becomes her hero. You become the villain. You cannot allow your relationship problems to be discussed with other men. That is the first crack in the dam. Workplace cheating is so common because it's easy. It requires zero effort to meet these men. They are forced to be in the same room. If you are not vigilant, if you are not maintaining your own value and your own frame, you are just waiting to be replaced by the guy in the cubicle next to her. Don't ignore the signs. If she is dressing up more for work than she does for your dates, that is a sign. If she is texting colleagues late at night about work matters that could wait until morning, that is a sign. If she is protective of her phone around you but leaves it open on her desk at work, that is a sign. So here is the smart question I want you to answer in the comments below. Do you think it is ever appropriate for a person in a relationship to have a best friend of the opposite sex at their workplace, or is that always a recipe for disaster? Drop your honest opinion in the comments section. I want to know if you think platonic friendship is real or just a waiting room for an affair. Let's get the discussion moving. And listen, if this video opened your eyes to the dangers of the 9-to-5 romance, do not just click away. You need to arm yourself with more knowledge. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications. We are building a brotherhood of men who refuse to be blindsided. Stay sharp, stay aware, and never let your guard down.